Hey everybody, I am back today with another video. This is a 12 by 12 layout that I created using the February 2024 cherry box from a cherry on top. So I am going to start with this beautiful stencil. If you watched my video that would have come up yesterday, then one of those little chipboard pieces that is heat embossed should look familiar, and you can just go back to the video posted yesterday to see all the details for that. Let's focus today on this beautiful stencil that is part of the box. So this is a layering stencil, but it is one where both layers are on one stencil. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take some washi tape from my stash. This is older washi tape. It's starting to stick to itself. So while I do love it, it's time to get it used up, because throwing away rolls of washi tape that have gone bad is not my jam. So I'm going to start with the top layer, or the bottom layer. Sorry, this is the bottom layer. This is not the detail layer of the stencil. I am inking this stencil using antique linen distress oxide ink. So it's going to give me this kind of creamy yellowy color that coordinates really, really well with the simple vintage love story collection included in the cherry box this month. I am going to pick this stencil up and move it around all down the right side of my 12 by 12 white cardstock. This is a coconut swirl cardstock, and it takes ink beautifully. Not fabulous for heavy mixed media applications. This is a cardstock you would use to cut files with your silhouette, or to do some light mixed media. If you're going to do heavy mixed media or heavy paints, I highly recommend a much thicker cardstock. But for this little bit of ink blending and splattering that we're going to do, this cardstock is perfect. For the second layer, or the top layer of this stencil, I am going to ink that up using aged mahogany distressed ink. Now, I start thinking that I'm going to layer all of these branches on this stencil, but once I overlap it the first time, I decide that I don't like the way that it looks, which is okay, because I'm planning on adding, like, I knew this part of my layout would probably be covered up. So once I did it the first time and overlapped the stencil and decided I didn't like it, then I'm going to work my way down, but kind of pick and choose. See that where it overlaps there? I'm going to kind of pick and choose which of these branches get the second layer and which don't. So I'm not going to stencil all of them. My page design is going to be. So I'm totally fine that it looks like there is more concentrated stencil work at the top than at the bottom, because most of that's going to get covered up. There's just going to be a little bit of that showing. So I am going to do some heavy splattering. So I have a Chroma mist color from Brutus Monroe. This is the Merlot Chroma mist color. I'm going to do some small splatters like you just saw me, and then I'm also going to do some nice big splatters. For big splatters, I opened my Chroma mist. I'm dipping a nice big paintbrush into the Chroma mist, and then kind of pushing the tip of the brush to get these nice big splatters. Now, when you do this with Chroma mist, it does separate a little bit, which means these splatters don't look necessarily like splatters. They kind of look more like abstract flowers or berries, because the glittery part kind of goes into the middle and kind of separates, which for this particular application I think is perfect. But just know that if you ever work with them, that they do separate. If you do big splatters, this probably wouldn't happen if you heat set them, but I just let them air dry. So As I go through these papers and decide which ones I want to use on my layout today, let's talk about my photo. So this is a heritage photo. This is a photo of my grandmother. This is probably my absolute favorite photo that I have from her. So this photo has been digitized. I do have the original. It is now safely in museum quality archival box. And I was playing with colorizing my digital heritage photos, which I think is super fun. So you just do this digitally. You're not hurting the photo, and it makes a copy. So I still have like the original digitized picture, and then I have the ones that I played with digitally coloring them. And I've been really, really enjoying doing this. So probably you'll be seeing a couple more, because there were a couple that I did that I was like, not so interested. But then there were a couple I did that turned out really pretty. And one of them was this photo of my grandmother. So I'm going through all the papers, choosing what patterns, what tags I want to cut apart. If I decide I'm going to use one of those larger ephemera pieces, things like that. My design plan for my layout today is pretty simple. So I'm going to start with a diagonal strip here. All of my pattern paper has been inked up using Distress Oxide Vintage Photo ink. So now I have two kind of areas, two borders, one down the left, one down the right. On the left, I'm going to layer up and place my photo, and I'm going to put my photo more towards the bottom. And here's where that gorgeous chipboard piece that I heat embossed comes in. I matted my photo with that mustardy yellow paper, and I just gave it a little mat. Then I have this gorgeous floral pattern, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down the cardboard or the chipboard, the embossed chipboard piece, and then above the embossed chipboard piece, I'm going to place my photo, and then I will trim all the way around all of that. Now, to keep my layout balanced and to have kind of a diagonal design going on, I am going to place an embellishment cluster and my journaling spot up towards the top of that mixed media border. So I have a bunch of different things here I'm gonna layer up, including the heat embossed circles that I did on some pink cardstock, and the stamp that I used to do that is the Prima stamp that is included in the box. I have also pulled out a wax seal because I love them. I'm actually running low, so I'm going to have to do a wax seal making session here in my craft room pretty soon. I make them all at once in all different colors, put the stickers on the back, and then I leave them in a little tray, a little dish on my craft desk, and then I can mix and match them as I create. So this wax seal has a little butterfly on it, and it's one that I colored. So it's a pink wax seal, but then that butterfly, I colored over it with a paint pen, and it's gorgeous. So we're gonna include that on our layout today. I know I said this with the last video that I did with this cherry box, but I'm gonna say it again. Use up the rub-ons. If you get this box, use up the rub-ons. They're beautiful and gorgeous. They work perfectly, but as someone who has used multiple rub-ons through 20 plus years of creating, they are not wet enough that they are going to last for a long time. So they are more on the dry side, so you're going to need to use them. I took advantage and used loads of them on this layout, so I'm going to use them as my title. There are these like strips on the rub-on sheet, and I'm going to use 2 of them to create my title. I'm going to use some of the butterflies to add to this layout. So right now I am reinforcing my design. I want to make sure that both sides of my design match. So I don't want the 2 borders touching. I don't want to meet in the middle. but I also want to make sure that the things that are on the left side also appear on the right. And to the best of my ability, I want the things that appear on the right to also appear on the left. And that way, the whole layout, even though those two kind of sections aren't touching, they still feel completely connected and like one piece. So I'm going through, I'm going to add some rub-ons and some stickers into my cluster and into the area of the stenciling. So I'm actually kind of bringing some of those florals into the stencil, which is going to work out really well because if you look at the stencil, it's pretty much just stems with flowers on the top. So we can kind of grab some of the flowers from the collection, cover up maybe a couple of the more abstract flowers that are in that stenciling, and then everything looks like it belongs. On the sticker sheet, there were these beautiful, there were some on the rub-on sheet and some on the sticker sheet actually. There are these beautiful dark red hearts. They matched my Merlot splatters beautifully. So I'm going to use them and kind of float them along that border as well. And that's where we're going to call this one done. I love this kit. I love this kit so much. And I completely 100% stand by the fact that at the end of 2024, this will be in my top 5 favorite collections for the year. In the description box below, you will find links to subscribe to the Cherry Box if you want to have this collection of products for yourself. And I will link up as many of the products as I can in down in the description box. So if anything caught your eye, that's where you can go to get all the info. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.